Welcome to Nutrition 101. Now, this is one of the most fundamental videos I would hope that you would watch through the entirety based on your own nutritional goals. Now, what I will be doing on this video is discussing the fundamental steps that I like to do with clients to improve their nutritional habits and build long-term sustainable habits through nutrition that see the long-term results. I'm going to be talking more about the common binge eating cycle that happens to most people when they often are on a nutritional journey. It will happen to the best of us. However, once we identify it and we know about it, this is going to be enabling us to be able to keep pursuing and keep progressing towards our goal. What we're going to also do is understand how we build certain things up to help with your overall goal. So, as you can imagine from your own personal experiences, you've probably done strict dieting, whether you've cut out certain aspects of food, you've probably restricted yourself to an extreme where it felt unsustainable. So, this is where typically most people go wrong, and this is where they focus purely on diet plans, meal timings, restricting times of eating, and trying to count calories or restricting their calories quite low. Now, what often happens here is they fall into this binge eating cycle very early, and whether they are able to sustain it is a different thing, because the binge eating cycle will highlight a lot of things, the negative thinking of how you're going to achieve the goal. The diet restriction, can you actually adhere to this diet restriction that you've put yourself under? Once you're feeling that deprivation, this is where the body starts to shut down mentally, physically, and also your emotions start to come in. And this is where overeating will start to creep in, because that guilt, that feeling starts to be there. Once you've got that guilt, the shame begins, and then the vicious binge eating cycle will continue. And it will only continue until you start going back into that system, that diet plan that you previously did. Now, what I want to do is to ensure you that it doesn't have to be this way. What I mean by that is we shouldn't focus on diet plans. We shouldn't focus on meal timings or calories. We should focus on habits and behaviors and the quality of foods, micro and macronutrients that you put into your body. Because for the most part, once we're doing these things, the rest can be adjusted based on the actual detail of your goal. Now, let's for instance, your goal is to lose 10 kg. I like to utilize how I'm going to help you build not only your habits and behaviors, but your education on macro and micronutrients. Because once we have established this, for the majority of people, they will never have to worry about calories, meal timings, supplements, diet plans. It will be pretty much irrelevant, because what I'm trying to create for you is that flexibility and the education behind nutrition. So, to lose 10 kg on those nutritional habits, how would I help you start the foundations of building your habits and behaviors to get your metric outcome? Now, I want you to think that this is a toolbox, and I'm going to break your toolbox into little pieces. Once they're broken up into these little pieces, I want you to think, as long as I'm working on one of those blocks, I'm able to make sure that I'm moving towards my goal. That makes sure that you're learning how to build habits and behaviors that ingrain you for long-term success. So, let's say, for instance, what is a good nutritional habit that you could look at doing? The first one I would say is staying hydrated. Is a really good one that most people struggle to do. And then what we would do is we'll be saying water intake, And we'll be looking at doing this for at least 2 to 3 weeks to ingrain a good habit and behavior daily that you're able to see that is working. Because what you probably can understand, if we're drinking more water, we're feeling more healthier, we're feeling like we're putting the right things in our body, and our body is going to be functioning more better because hydration is key. Most likely when we start to drink more water, for the majority of people, they're reducing on their high calorie sugary drinks, their coffees, their boba tea, whatever those sort of drinks that are a reference to yourself. That will then put you in a lesser, eating less calories, which then links towards your goal. As again, I like to work on habits and behaviors for at least 2 to 3 weeks with somebody so that they feel and they know that they've ingrained this habit and it's something that's automatic rather than forced to do. And again, you can choose your own habit and behavior. Another sort of an example how we could move to helping you link towards your goal is looking at, say, eating more high quality nutrient foods. Now this can be broken up into different aspects. It could be eating more vegetables, it could be eating more high quality protein meals. So an example would be increased veg. So if you were to increase veg, the more likely, if you increase your quality vegetables, you're going to be increasing the food volume, the portion. You're increasing the food portion, but the calorie of that food portion is very low. As opposed to a traditional dish like Maggi noodles, the portion is probably not that big and the food quality is not that high, and also the calories for what you're getting is quite high. So these are the things that you're actually doing and making a swap. Or if that was such a big challenge, and the ways that I could support you with that, I would probably say if Maggi's is something that you eat, why not add some vegetables to the Maggi's that allow you to increase the quality of food that's going inside you, and then start to assess again as we go forth. The key behind it is giving your body more of what it needs than trying to reduce the things that reduce foods to make it that deprivation, which then, as you can see, deprivation can lead to overeating, shame and guilt, and then you could end up back in that binge eating cycle. So this is just a small example of how you can link towards your goals on your habits and behaviors. What we can then start to understand and appreciate is the next step is the micro and macro, or macro and micronutrients that most people, for the majority of them, need to be educated on. The macronutrients are your protein, fats and carbs, and your micros are your vitamins, minerals, those little aspects of your, to help the body function better, the cells to function better. Now, these things don't need to be addressed so quickly until you start building the basic foundations of what you feel is your goal of your habits and behaviors. Now, if you feel that you want to increase your protein intake very soon or very early and you feel that you can do that, yes, we can start to do that. We can put the protein intake as a goal for us to look at. It just depends on you as an individual on how we can sit down together and build these building blocks to link towards the goal. Rather than, as you can now appreciate, if we started to try and do a strict diet plan, which is pretty much the whole block, and when we start doing the whole block, it's hard to sustain all those things that are needed to reach the goal, which then puts us straight back into the cycle, which most likely will put you back in your goal. Hopefully this video helped. I would just want to highlight on the end of this video, there are certain aspects that need to be appreciated on your nutritional journey, and that is medication, your allergies and your menses. So for females, the menstrual cycle is important. Medication, are you on any medication that suppresses your appetite, increases your appetite, or even something to consider, makes you bloated or increases your water retention or something like that? Because these things need to be addressed, because if you're trying to lose weight, for instance, and you increase your water intake, it could affect your psychology behind your goal, and then you might end up falling into the binge eating cycle. Allergies, again, will link into sort of dairy. Are you allergic? Do I have any allergies to dairy, lactose intolerant, nuts, any types of food that doesn't sit right with you personally, need to be addressed. Because again, if your weight goes up by water retention or a reaction, we don't want you to feel that you're not making the right steps, and you feel that even the habits and behaviors that you've learned have been affected by these small little things. So always appreciate, again, maybe there's certain foods that don't sit right with you. And the final thing for the men's is for females, there's that time of the month that, unfortunate for me as a male, I will never appreciate the female body and how your personal body, if this is applying to a female, applies to this your own personal goal. Maybe your weight goes up, maybe your weight drops, who knows? But it's very important that you track that sort of time, or if you don't feel like tracking it, it's each the individual. So hopefully this Nutritional 101 video was really helpful. One of the key things is for me to be able to sit down with you and discuss more in depth of how we help your goal and make it more clearer for you. And just remember the final note, you're either trying to chase a metric or an emotion. If you're trying to chase a metric like a 10 kg or increase weight, whatever that will be, or trying to increase your protein goal number, so moving from 90 to 100, always think it's linked to an emotion, a deeper emotion. What is that emotion that is it linked to? Why do I want to, say, lose that 10 kg? Why is that 10 magic number important to me? Why can't it just be 1? Why can't it be 5? Try and think of that deep emotion, feeling that it will give you to reach that goal, and ask yourself deep down,